Well, let me just begin by saying I was very appreciative of the level of attention that we received from all of the municipal units. The union was here. It was a discussion around how we move forward, not lamenting necessarily the situation we find ourselves in, but where do we find the path and road forward. And two things that are going to happen immediately coming out of this meeting is that I've informed them that we're going to have in place a program for the woodlands contractors in order to keep them working and in the woods and keep their machinery working. So that we don't lose that asset. Many of them, as you may know, have considerable investments in the machinery that they're using in order to process and to move wood and fiber out of the woodlands. So we want to protect those interests. As you know, there are some 400 jobs there, so we're going to have that in place. I told the mayors we'd have that in place by the time that the first machine is due to be idled. The second thing that we're going to do is I've invited the mayor to determine how they would like to assign some staff resources to our committee of deputy ministers so that they can be an actual participant in this at the staff level to ensure that there is a direct accountability program with the municipalities and to ensure that we're getting the benefit of their advice and know what it is that the municipalities are able to do to assist us in this program. So we want to find a way forward for the mill, and what you saw here today, I think, is a group of people who are committed to making sure that happens.
What's the value of the woodlands? What's the value of the woodlands program that you're going to put in place, and when does it actually begin? And could you look between the cameras there, Premier, please?
Sure. Well, as I said, we're going to have it in place by the time that the first part of the plan is due to idle, which will, as I understand it, be September 10th. In terms of the manner in which that will be done, that's the program that's being currently developed. And in fact, we have done this in the past when there have been slowdowns in one part of the province or the other. We found ways to keep the woodlands operating.
So what are you going to use the wood for? I mean, if you're still cutting trees, where's it going and who's using it?
Well, those are exactly the things that are to be resolved. Those are exactly the kinds of questions that are to be resolved. But what I can say is that there are pressures on the Nova Scotia woodlands already, and people asking for more fiber and access to more crown land. So it's a question of how you are able to get that into the hands of the people who need it. So we're obviously looking around the province. In fact, I had people in my office just a short time ago asking for more access to woodland fiber. So the question is being able to coordinate that so that we keep the people in the woodlands here working and those incomes secure, and of course their ability to pay the costs of the capital they've invested in the machinery.
How much money is it worth? How much money are you going to put in it as a provincial?
It would be premature for me to tell you that because I don't know at this point what those what costs might be associated with it. But I think primarily the function for us will be coordinating to make sure that it happens.
What about negotiating with the Nova Scotia Power for lower electricity rate for 5 years, which Mayor Billy Joe McLean was suggesting, was hoping for?
Well, there's a process already underway for Nova Scotia Power and for the rate hearing that's going to take place. What we did discuss here, of course, was what the municipalities were going to do with respect to their positions, what kind of briefs they were going to be advancing at that hearing. As I said yesterday, I think one of the clear things that has to happen is that we need to prevail upon Nova Scotia Power to withdraw their request for increases in profitability of the company. Given all of the stresses that are going on today, frankly, we know that that's an inappropriate position for them to be taken.
Did that kill this pulp mill?
What's that?
Their demands, did it kill this pulp mill?
Well, this mill is not dead at all, and in fact, this is an idling process that's taking place. This is an efficient, productive mill with a highly skilled workforce that is able to produce a very good and marketable product. Our question is, how do we go about ensuring that it continues to operate at that level, and how do we ensure that we take advantage to the fullest degree of the markets that are available to the company? So the conversation here was not about anything about how other than how we find a way forward for the mill, and how we ensure that the families that are reliant upon this mill for income security are protected. And that's the focus of the discussion. It's the focus of where our government will be proceeding.
Will you be talking to NewPage?
What's that?
Will you be going back to talk to NewPage?
I've already talked to, as you may know, I talked to the management at NewPage yesterday. We have the lines of communication open. We have staff people in my office and through the departments that are going to work with them. We talked about some possible programming initiatives yesterday, which I would like the municipalities and the federal government to be part of, around the question of marketing and how we go about getting the industry expertise that is necessary to allow them to explore other markets than just the U.S.-based market. This is literally the second day since we heard about this, and I would say we've had considerable progress.
Have you inquired from NewPage yesterday how healthy the pension funds for the employees, if it is going to close permanently? Let's hope not, but if it is there going? Have you inquired how healthy, if the fund is funded sufficiently, and that we don't have another NACOIC here with an American company?
Well, the status of the pension plans are of course a concern to everyone, and many of these funds have been underfunded, but I'm not in a position to comment on their specific funds. Perhaps there are people from the union who would be in a better position to talk a little more about that. But again, our focus at this point is not about how those are structured. It is about how we go about ensuring the mill has a short time in idle and is up and running in order to provide ongoing paychecks and ongoing income security for the families who rely on it. We all, of course, look down the road to understand the ramifications. There are things that we don't have control over. We don't know if the parent company will file for Chapter 11. We don't know whether or not that means a creditor protection application in Canada. We don't know. There are many what ifs that surround this particular mill at this particular point. We are proceeding on the basis that if we have the cooperation of the municipalities, the cooperation of the federal government, and are able to work with the management and union at the plant, that we can find a way to keep that open and operating, and that's our focus.
How long are you going to keep harvesting trees? What's the time frame? It almost sounds like you're optimistic that this is going to reopen. Is a portion of it this wood going to biomass stockpile? Is it going to hopefully?
Yeah, you're asking for technical aspects of a
but when you
plan.
That's a plan. You must have some
what
idea.
I'm saying is the plan is under development, and that's what I told the mayors here this morning, and I'm sharing with you the same thing that I shared with them. We intend to have it in place, as I said, before the first machine goes idle. The purpose of that, of course, is to ensure that those assets stay in place, because when the mill restarts, they're going to have access to fiber. They're going to need those contractors in the woodlands able to continue to produce so that they can produce pulp. So, we will work through this in a measured fashion, and that's what I think the mayors want to do. That's certainly what I want to do, and I believe that that's in the best interest of the mill.
How optimistic are you that the power issue can be resolved on Thursday when government, NewPage, small business, and the Nova Scotia Power Corporation meet?
you know, I approach all of these things cautiously, and you know, you know, I think, you know, it's one of the mix of issues that has an effect, not just on industry, but on ratepayers. So everybody knows that this is a delicate balance that is being addressed among all of those concerns. Industry needs to get what they need to get. Ratepayers are facing pressure on family budgets, and you know, I just point out that, you know, we recognize that very early on, and this is, you know, one of the things that ironically limits our flexibility. We took all the tax off of electricity as one of the first things that we ever did. So we don't have anything more to cut when it comes to on the tax side. You know, so we understand the pressures that are on families. They're struggling hard to make ends meet. But it's not going to do anybody any good if we have, you know, 1,000 ratepayers who can't afford to pay their electric bills because there's no income. You know, we have to recognize that this is not just an eastern Nova Scotia problem. This is not just a Port Hawkesbury problem. This is a Nova Scotia problem. This is a big industry. It's been a big part of our economy for a long time. We want to do what we can to ensure that it continues to be for a long time in our future.
Is the provincial government willing to subsidize power rates, or would power rate cut be left to ratepayers?
We're going to allow the process before the Utility Review Board to play itself out.
Is there any idea, you've mentioned the NewPage's challenges might file for protection from the court. Is there any steps taken to maybe start looking for a buyer?
You know, buyers bring themselves forward. There's, you know, this is a big industry, but in the end, all of these people in the industry all seem to know each other. That's certainly been my experience. So they know what's going on in terms of the structure of the industry, and you know, I wouldn't be at all surprised that you know, if those kinds of questions are being asked within the industry already.